One of the most important things that Donald Trump has done since being in office is that he has defunded USAID. Much like Ron Swanson before him,
I am an official member of a task force dedicated to slashing the city budget. Just saying that gave me a semi.
Elon Musk is here to mercilessly cut the government, and I am applauding every step along the way because USAID has been exposed for funding the following. And in order to show this to you in a way that won't bore the daylights out of you, I would like to put this in a Star Wars scroll. USAID funded $1.5 million to advance diversity, equity, and inclusion in Serbia's workplaces. $70,000 to produce a DEI musical in Ireland. Hope you enjoyed that, Jamie. $2.5 million for electric vehicles for Vietnam. $47,000 for a transgender opera in Colombia. $32,000 for a transgender comic book in Peru. $2 million for sex changes in LGBT activism in Guatemala. $6 million to fund tourism in Egypt. Hundreds of thousands of dollars for a non-profit linked to designated terrorist organizations. Millions to EcoHealth Alliance, which was involved in research at the Wuhan lab. Hundreds of thousands of meals that went to Al-Qaeda. Funding to print personalized contraceptives, birth control devices in developing countries. Oh, that list could go on and on because it's just the beginning. But one of the things that USAID has been funding is also, strangely, media organizations. Now, before I tell you who, let me just stop and say the AID could be very deceiving here. The aid here is not aid in the sense of humanitarian aid only. There are some things that USAID does that is good, but make no mistake that aid means the Agency for International Development. So this is a way for Democrats and bureaucrats to fund an organization that is interested in spreading its woke ideas far and wide to develop the international world, as we just saw. So this isn't aid in the sense of digging wells and making sure that we protect babies in the womb across nations of the world. No, this is something far different than that. This is what USAID has been about, and they have been in the business of promoting political organizations. Not only did they give millions of dollars to the BBC to help them fight, quote unquote, misinformation, as though we cared about misinformation across the pond, but also they gave Politico $8 million to help subsidize their online subscriptions. Now, I'm thinking to myself, I really missed the boat on this one because I've been working hard to make sure that I, at this stage in the game, as a brand new YouTuber, provide you movies, ebooks, and audiobooks so that you can surround yourself with Christian ideas and really develop a robust Christian worldview. And here I am trying to scrape together subscriptions for $7 a month from the people who appreciate this channel when I could have just been taking money from the government, and they could have been subsidizing my work all along. And all it would cost me is my soul, just like another certain disciple of Jesus.
Shalom, Judas.
And the reason I bring up that odd disciple of Jesus, because there may be an equivalent between another media company that was taking money from the Biden administration, because Christianity Today, about $2 million in 2023, based upon this 990 that was leaked online recently. Now, did Christianity Today take USAID money? I don't know. What was this grant for that they got from the Biden administration? I don't know. I can only tell you stuff like this, that whenever you see things that don't make sense, you should always tell yourself something.
Show me the money.
And once you see the money and it starts making things make sense, well, then I think you get your answer. Because Russell Moore, who is the editor-in-chief over at Christianity Today, was responsible for making things like this. The After Party says its mission is to reframe Christian political thinking. It was financed exclusively by left-wing secular funders, including Bill Kristol's anti-Trump group, the Defending Democracy Together Institute, which the campaign finance watchdog Open Secrets highlighted as a major source of dark money in the 2020 and 2024 elections. Moreover, Christian authors like Natasha Crane have highlighted the After Party's content is in no way nonpartisan and seems intended to confuse church members into believing that there's a moral equivalence between the political parties. So as you can see, Russell Moore and his boys weren't actually interested in telling you the truth. They were actually interested in a political agenda. So now, hear me. I don't, again, know what this money was ultimately for, but I can just tell you this. I think you should always assume the best. I don't think you should go around being cynical. But fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. I spent the last 8 years looking at Christianity Today and scratching my head and asking for it to make sense. How is it that Christianity Today is oddly militating against Trump, who is obviously the clear choice for any Christian? How can he stand by and endorse Biden even indirectly while he's peddling trans-affirming nonsense and peddling abortion and sending his crackhead son across the globe to pick up stacks of cash? I didn't understand any of that. But once you insert the 990, and once that all begins to make sense, it makes sense now that Russell Moore, who was the editor-in-chief at Christianity Today, is doing things like sponsoring the after party and getting paid very healthily for it. Now, here's the Daily Wire talking about the after party. The after party says it's a mission to reframe Christian political thinking. It was financed exclusively by left-wing secular funders, including Bill Kristol's anti-Trump group, the Defending Democracy Together Institute, which the campaign finance watchdog Open Secrets highlighted as a major source of dark money in the 2020 and 2024 elections. Moreover, Christian authors like Natasha Crane have highlighted that the after party's content is in no way nonpartisan and seems intended to confuse church members into believing that there's a moral equivalence between the political parties. You may dislike cancel culture, and I'm not necessarily a fan unless you're canceling a whore. And Christianity Today absolutely is. They sold out to the highest bidder and should no longer have your good faith or respect. I can't say I know that the money came from USAID or what strings were attached to the money that they got and where it actually came from. And I don't care. I just know that they took it, and they never should have. No Christian organization should be funded by the government like this, especially if you want us to believe you're telling us the truth. All I need to know is that that money came from the Biden administration, and that's enough. So, FAFO, brothers, if you want to sleep with sellouts, guess what you become? Forget titles like Christian and focus on substance. Whenever you see Christians peddling things that seem like wolves in sheep's clothing, do what your Lord and Savior said, and beware. All right, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And if you found this show helpful to you, don't forget to become a member over at indiethinker.org/support, where you can gain access to exclusives, extras, and perks like ebooks, audiobooks, and Christian films. Check out the description of this podcast to look for our sponsors, and most importantly, go with God.